Her hotel room was double booked. The black guest said, "You take the bed. I'll stay up and keep you safe." The lobby of Stonemount Ridge Hotel shimmered with quiet luxury. Velvet armchairs, gold-trimmed wall sconces, and the polite hush of wealth doing its best not to raise its voice. Ella Cartwright stood at the marble front desk, tapping her perfectly manicured finger against her phone screen as she pulled up her confirmation. Cartwright, Ella, 1 King Deluxe Suite, paid in full. Next to her stood a man in a black tactical jacket and jeans, calm expression unreadable. Rivers Jamal, same room, same confirmation code. The front desk manager, Trevor Lang, wore a tight, polite smile that was really just a grimace in disguise. "I'm terribly sorry. There must have been a system glitch. You both have identical reservations." Ella blinked, her eyes narrowing. "So fix it. Give me another room." Trevor hesitated. "We're at full capacity. A conference downtown. Overflow everywhere." She looked toward Jamal. He didn't say anything, just crossed his arms and kept his gaze on Trevor. Ella scoffed softly. "There must be something. I made this booking 6 weeks ago." "So did I," Jamal said, his voice calm but direct. "Confirmation number's legit." Trevor's smile dropped for a moment before flicking back into place. "Perhaps, for just a few hours, we can allow shared access to the room until another frees up. A temporary solution, separate keys, strictly optional." Ella turned to Jamal, studying him like he was a contract she didn't fully trust. "You're okay with this?" He gave a short nod. "If you are." She didn't answer at first, just sighed and looked toward the elevators. "Fine, but I want this resolved by tonight." Trevor handed them each a key card, eyes flicking between them. "Of course, I'll make it a priority." They turned without another word. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. Silence stretched between them as they stepped inside, and Ella shifted her gaze to the glowing floor numbers, anything but his reflection in the mirrored walls. "Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into the story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep the positivity flowing. The room was immaculate. Sleek hardwood floors, a wall of glass overlooking downtown Denver, and a single king-sized bed dressed in crisp white linen. Ella stepped in first, suitcase rolling. Behind her, she paused, visibly stiffening. Jamal followed, setting his duffel down quietly near the door. "Looks like one bed," he said simply. She exhaled sharply. "Obviously." Ella set her suitcase upright, then crossed the room and opened the closet. "There's a couch," she said without turning. "You can take it." Jamal glanced at the sleek but narrow love seat near the window and raised an eyebrow. "You wouldn't last 5 minutes on that thing, and neither will I." She turned to face him now, folding her arms. "Then what do you suggest?" He didn't blink. "You take the bed. I'll stay up. I've done worse in tighter quarters." Ella's brows lifted. "What are you, ex-military?" Jamal nodded once. "Army, Ranger." Her mouth opened, then shut again. Something about the way he said it, no ego, no bravado, caught her off guard. He walked to the window and looked out at the city. "I'll stay up. Keep watch." "Keep watch?" Her voice curled with disbelief. "Figure you're uncomfortable. Maybe you sleep better knowing someone's got your back." She didn't answer right away. A wave of something uncomfortable flickered across her face. Guilt, maybe, or pride being tugged sideways. "I don't need protection," she muttered. Jamal glanced over his shoulder. "Didn't say you did." Ella sat at the edge of the bed, suddenly unsure where to place her hands. She reached for her phone, checked it for messages that hadn't arrived. Jamal pulled a chair closer to the window, sank into it with ease, and leaned back without another word. They didn't speak again for nearly an hour. The silence wasn't hostile, just new. The hour crept toward midnight, but sleep didn't come for Ella. She lay stiffly on the far edge of the bed, wrapped in hotel linen, phone clutched loosely in one hand. Every few minutes, her eyes flicked toward the man by the window. Jamal sat upright in the chair, one leg crossed, arms relaxed but alert. The glow from the city outside cast his profile in soft silhouette. Calm jawline, steady posture, expression unreadable. "You're really going to stay up all night?" she finally asked, voice low. "Yeah," he replied without moving. "That's ridiculous. I've done it before. Out of practice maybe, but not impossible." She rolled to her side, propping herself up on one elbow. "In the army, you said?" He nodded. "Afghanistan. 2 tours. Then I came back, started a cybersecurity firm with a buddy. Now I mostly babysit executives and plug their leaky systems." Ella's lips parted, a little caught off guard. "You don't look like a tech guy. You don't look like someone who judges that fast," he said without heat. Her stomach twisted and she looked away. He softened his voice. "Sorry, that was unfair." "No," she admitted, "it wasn't." They fell quiet again. A long pause settled in. Then Jamal said, "My mom used to say that people are mostly good at pretending they aren't afraid of each other." Ella blinked. "What do you think?" "I think we all need better teachers." She let out a breath, slow and low. The city lights shimmered across the ceiling. "Why didn't you insist on taking the bed?" she asked. "Because I figured you wouldn't sleep if I did." He wasn't wrong. She eased down again, resting her head on the pillow. Her last glance before closing her eyes was toward him. His stillness, his steady breathing, his presence. Ella drifted into sleep, wondering how a stranger made her feel more watched over than anyone she'd ever known. The soft knock at the door came just after sunrise. Ella stirred, blinking against the pale light filtering through the sheer curtains. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she saw Jamal, still seated by the window, same posture, eyes open. "You didn't sleep," she said quietly, voice raspy. He stretched his arms once, didn't plan to. Before either could say more, the knock came again. Jamal stood and opened the door to find a junior staffer holding a clipboard. "Good morning," the young man said. "We just wanted to update you. No cancellations overnight. Still fully booked." Ella sat up straighter, hair slightly tousled, irritation blooming. "So, you're telling me this is still the only option?" "I'm afraid so," the staffer said, eyes darting between them. "We'll keep checking." Jamal closed the door with a quiet nod, then turned back to her. "Guess it's round 2. But Ella was already swinging her legs over the bed, frustration sharp in her voice. "This is ridiculous. I made this reservation weeks ago. I have a panel to prep for, and I can't even get 5 hours of sleep without wondering if I'm going to wake up and have my room handed to someone else." Jamal's eyes narrowed just slightly. "Is that what you think happened?" She stood, brushing past him toward the bathroom. "I don't know what happened, but I do know I'm tired, and this isn't what I paid for." The tension in the room thickened. Jamal reached for his bag. "I'll give you space." "Don't bother," she snapped. "I'm late anyway." He paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I hope your panel goes well." She didn't answer. After he left, Ella looked around the quiet room. The bed still held the shape of where she'd slept peacefully, for the first time in a long time. The chair by the window was empty, its purpose fulfilled, and she felt worse than she thought she would, not because the room was still double booked, but because she'd just taken the easy way out. Again. The conference ballroom buzzed with chatter, coffee-fueled energy, and the crisp scent of pressed suits. Ella sat near the back of a breakout session, half listening, scrolling through her presentation slides, trying not to think about the quiet tension she'd left behind in the hotel room. Then the next speaker was announced. Jamal Rivers, CEO of FortiGate Cyber Defense. Her head snapped up. He took the stage with quiet confidence, wearing a fitted charcoal blazer, clean white shirt, and jeans that defied the room's typical uniform. His voice, when he began, was even and clear. "We secure data, not headlines. But sometimes, being invisible costs more than being seen." Ella straightened, watching how he owned the room, not with charm, but with conviction. He walked the crowd through real-world cybersecurity breaches, not shying away from hard truths. Then it happened. David Gentry, a smug CEO from one of the bigger sponsor firms, raised a hand. "So, Jamal, when you're pitching to Fortune 500 clients, do you find image matters more than credentials?" Subtle laughter rippled. Ella's jaw tightened. Jamal paused. "I find performance matters more than comfort zones. My clients aren't trying to feel good. They're trying not to get hacked." Some clapped. Others stayed quiet. Ella stood. "Mr. Rivers just gave more technical and ethical clarity in 10 minutes than this room has offered all morning." If image is your metric, maybe you're in the wrong industry. Gasps. Jamal blinked, his gaze flicking to her. The room shifted. The panel moderator cleared his throat awkwardly. Gentry smirked, but said nothing else. When Jamal left the stage, he passed Ella near the back of the room. No words, just a look. Not gratitude, not surprise. Recognition. A quiet nod passed between them. She'd done what was right, not because she had to, but because she'd meant it. Back at the hotel room, evening light poured through the windows like amber silk, casting soft shadows across the walls. Ella unlocked the door slowly, unsure of what she'd find. Jamal sat on the edge of the couch, scrolling through his phone, duffel bag still by the door. He looked up, neutral. Didn't expect you to come back. Ella set her laptop bag on the desk and shrugged. Didn't expect to speak up for you either, but here we are. A faint smile tugged at one corner of his mouth. You didn't have to, but I'm glad you did. She toed off her heels, walking to the minibar. I was out of line this morning. I know. She shot him a sharp glance. You're not going to let me off the hook? Nope. Silence stretched between them for a moment before she cracked a tired smile. Fair. He leaned back slightly, resting an arm on the couch. Truth is, I didn't sleep because I didn't trust the hotel. But after a while, I realized I wasn't sure I trusted you either. Ella se movió hacia la cama, posándose en el borde de nuevo. Yeah, I got that. They sat in silence, not hostile this time, just honest. You could have let that guy at the panel humiliate me, Jamal said quietly. Would have been easier. Ella tilted her head, eyes softer now. Would have been wrong. Outside, the city buzzed in a distant hum. Inside, something had shifted, less guarded, more human. Jamal stood and crossed to the window. You want the bed again? She hesitated. Only if you'll let yourself sleep this time. He looked over his shoulder. We'll see. Then, you hungry? She asked. He blinked, then nodded. Yeah. She smiled, small but real. Let's order something. I don't think either of us should be alone tonight. This time, Jamal didn't argue. He just sat beside her. The menu opened between them, the distance smaller than it had been 24 hours before. The room was dim now, lit only by a floor lamp in the corner and the soft glow of the TV playing muted news footage. 2 half-eaten takeout boxes sat on the nightstand, forgotten. Ella and Jamal sat cross-legged on the floor beside the bed, backs resting against it, their knees just inches apart. I used to think success would fix everything, Ella said, voice low. I climbed the ladder, memorized the rules, thought if I played it right, I'd finally be respected. But it's never enough. Jamal looked at her, his eyes calm and unreadable. Because the rules weren't written for you. Not really. She let out a breathy laugh. And here I thought you were the one people underestimated. Jamal picked at the label on his water bottle. I got used to it. People assuming I was security or asking if I was in the wrong room. You stop being surprised after a while, but it still hurts. He nodded slowly. Yeah, but you learn where to store the pain so it doesn't show. Ella looked down at her hands. I'm sorry for how I treated you that first night. I know, he said. I saw it on your face this morning, before you said anything. They both sat in silence for a long moment. Do you ever miss it? She asked. The army? Jamal's voice softened. Sometimes. The clarity. Out there you knew who had your back. Here? Everyone smiles, but no one means it. Ella turned to him, their faces closer now, the air thick with something unspoken. You stayed up all night, for a woman who treated you like a mistake. I stayed up for someone who didn't know better yet, he corrected gently. Their eyes met, direct and unguarded. No masks left between them. No kiss came. Not yet. But something in both of them leaned forward. This night wasn't about passion. It was about peace. He eventually laid on the couch, and for the first time, she watched him fall asleep, quiet, safe, together. The morning came sharp and bright through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Ella stood near the coffee maker in a hotel robe, fingers wrapped around a ceramic mug, staring out at the skyline as if it might offer answers. Jamal stirred on the couch behind her, blinking awake to the smell of dark roast and unfamiliar stillness. You slept, she said without turning. I did. There was a pause, comfortable, even, slightly warm. He sat up, rubbing his neck. Weirdest conference I've ever been to. She smirked over her shoulder. Same. But the ease faded fast. Ella's phone buzzed. A message from her firm. Brent Collier wants a meeting. He heard about your panel moment. Her stomach sank. She handed Jamal his coffee, trying to hide the way her hand trembled. You okay? He asked. I think I'm about to be told that ethics don't mix well with ambition. Jamal sipped his coffee. They never have. Doesn't mean you have to listen. Just before noon, Ella sat across from Brent Collier in the hotel's executive lounge. He didn't waste time. We like you, Ella. You're sharp. But this allyship thing, it's not your fight. You don't have to burn bridges for people who'll never be able to return the favor. Ella stared at him, rage crawling up her spine like a flame. Later, back in the room, she dropped her bag on the bed. Jamal looked up from his laptop. Well, I'm not getting promoted, she said, lips tight but proud. He nodded slowly. You okay with that? She exhaled. Not yet, but I will be. Jamal leaned back in his chair, his gaze steady. You're braver than you look. Ella gave him a sideways smile. So are you. Neither said it, but both knew. They were standing on opposite sides of a line, and both had just chosen to cross it. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. They hadn't spoken in over an hour, not out of awkwardness, but because there was finally nothing that had to be said. The sky outside had faded to a moody navy, the kind of blue that only came after a long, uncertain day. Jamal stood on the rooftop terrace, shoulders square against the Denver skyline. The breeze stirred the hem of his jacket as he looked out over the city, lost in thought. Ella se acercó silenciosamente, brazos plegados para el calor, sus pasos ligeros sobre la piedra. He didn't turn. I posted about it. She stopped beside him. About the room? Yeah, just facts. No hashtags, no outrage. Good. Not sure if it was brave or dumb. Ella leaned on the railing next to him. Probably both. He glanced sideways, his face shadowed. Got people saying I'm trying to make trouble. Got people asking for interviews. And how do you feel? Exposed. The honesty sat between them, heavy and unfiltered. She touched the railing with her fingertips. They offered me the promotion, said I could take it quietly if I dropped the activism. Jamal gave a dry laugh. Let me guess. They called it risky optics. Her smile was sad. Exactly. They stood there in silence, high above the world that expected them to follow its rules. You ever think, he said, that we're not supposed to be in the same room, let alone the same story? Ella turned to face him, eyes searching his. Then why does it feel like I've never been more in the right place? Jamal's expression cracked just slightly, his guard lowering in the quiet, windy dark. No one's ever said that to me, he murmured. Then it's about time someone did. And there it was. No fireworks, no orchestral swell. Just a slow, natural pull as they stepped toward each other, her hand brushing his jacket, his fingertips grazing her wrist. A kiss, soft and certain, closed the space between them. No fear, no apology, just connection. Finally. Morning at the diner felt like a different world. No chandeliers, no gold trim, just the clatter of plates and the scent of fresh bacon and maple syrup. Sunlight poured through wide windows, streaking across the cracked leather booths and formica countertops like forgiveness. Ella sat across from Jamal, hair pulled into a soft ponytail, no makeup, just a warm hoodie and jeans. He wore a navy zip-up and clean white tee, casual and at ease for the first time in days. Their coffee cups steamed between them, and the waitress, Sandra, according to her name tag, treated them like any other pair who looked like they'd been through something and come out the other side. Y'all ready to order? She asked with a grin. Jamal smiled. Yeah, pancakes, extra butter. Ella added. And eggs, scrambled, please. Sandra nodded, making no comment, no assumptions, just kindness. After she left, Ella looked around the small diner. An elderly black couple sat 2 booths over. A white guy in a mechanic uniform ate alone at the counter, and nobody stared. I used to think places like this didn't exist anymore, she said. Jamal stirred his coffee. They exist. We just don't always believe we belong in them. She watched him for a moment, the way he held himself with quiet strength, even when he wasn't trying. I think I judged you the minute I saw you, she admitted. Not because I hated you, just because I didn't know better. Jamal didn't flinch. But you're learning. I am. Their food arrived. They ate slowly, comfortably, conversation slipping between silence and laughter. It wasn't a grand gesture. It was a simple breakfast in a public place where nothing felt unsafe and everything felt possible. The hotel lobby looked different now, not because the decor had changed, but because they had. Ella sat on one of the velvet armchairs near the fireplace, legs crossed at the ankle. scrolling through an inbox overflowing with subject lines like "Saw your panel moment" and "Legal inquiry, DEI panel invite." She closed her laptop, eyes drifting toward the front desk, where Jamal leaned casually against the counter, laughing into his phone. "You serious?" he said into the receiver. "Yeah, we can handle that contract." "No, we won't white label. FortiGate takes full credit." He paused. "Appreciate you saying that, man." "Really?" Ella rose and walked over as he hung up. "More good news?" she asked. Jamal smiled, slow and humble. "Let's just say speaking up had ripple effects. We just doubled our client base." Ella sonrió y por una vez no se sintió guardada. "I got an offer too. Different firm, better culture. Told them I only sign if I help build the next generation of voices, not drown them." He leaned a little closer. "Sounds like you found your lane." She shrugged. "Maybe I finally stopped running from it." They walked together to the plush seating area where they'd waited just 2 days ago, when they were strangers in conflict, not companions in something that didn't yet have a name. Carla, the desk clerk, passed by and gave a small nod to them both. Jamal nodded back. "Funny," Ella said. A double booking felt like the worst thing that could have happened. He raised an eyebrow. "Still might be." She nudged him lightly with her shoulder. "You're impossible." "I'm patient," he replied. "Ask my war buddies." They sat side by side, both aware their paths were still separate. Different cities, different battles ahead. But for now, they sat in stillness, their knees touching slightly. No need to explain what had shifted. 2 people, 1 unexpected room, and a world that looked just a little different than it had 3 nights ago. The car pulled up just outside the hotel's curved glass entrance, blinking its hazard lights in the morning sun. Ella stood beside her suitcase, hands tucked into the pockets of her coat. Jamal stood a few steps back, his duffel slung over one shoulder, eyes steady but unreadable. They hadn't talked much since breakfast, not out of discomfort, but because nothing they could say would make the goodbye easier. "Well," Ella said, adjusting the strap of her laptop bag, "this has been something else." Jamal offered a soft smile. "Definitely not your average hotel stay." She laughed lightly, but the sound faded quickly. "I meant what I said," she added, voice softer. About choosing better, about walking forward, not backward." "I know," he replied, "and I meant it when I said you didn't need saving." Ella tilted her head, eyes searching his. "That first night, you said you'd stay up, keep me safe." He stepped forward, close but not imposing. "And I did." "You did more than that." Her voice wavered slightly. "You didn't just protect me, you made me look at myself." He nodded, and for the first time, his expression broke, just enough to show what he was feeling beneath the quiet. "I didn't expect any of this," he said. "Neither did I." The driver honked once. Ella turned to go, then paused. "So, what happens now?" Jamal looked down, then up again. "I don't know, but I'm not going anywhere just yet." She reached for his hand, just fingers at first, then all of it. He didn't let go, and as she slid into the car, and it pulled away, she looked back, out the window through the glass, and saw him still standing there, not guarding the room, guarding her story. Whatever came next, they had both already crossed the threshold, together.